Hi there. In this video, we're going to talk all about how calls made through Gecko, either on a one-to-one basis or through the Cloud Call Center, can be pushed across the Slate to update student records, create tasks, add an interaction on the student timeline. Really, the possibilities are completely endless, and the wonderful thing is that doesn't mean it's going to be a lot of work. It's incredibly simple to set up and customize however you want. Let's jump to it now. Let's begin by clicking on Settings and telling Gecko that there's data you've got, Gecko, that we want somewhere else, in this case in Slate. Let's create a new export. And there are lots of different angles you could come at this from if you wanted to pull in information. So, for example, if you wanted to export events and contact information and calls, you could do that. But for us, let's just say it's just calls that we're interested in. Just calls, that's all we want. Now, crucially, you can choose to filter this by outcomes. So maybe we only want complete ones, or outcomes where somebody has paid up, or whatever the outcome may be. It's entirely up to you how you want to choose this. Or you could also choose, I only want any call made in the last hour that's pushed across and synced over to Slate. Again, up to you how you set this up. Now, when it comes to creating your export, let's imagine for our example here, we want to push over basically student information, so we know whether or not this is a new student or to merge into an existing record, and then also enough data to make a really meaningful interaction on the timeline that we can measure over time. So let's begin by saying we want to export the time the call was completed at. And this can be in whatever date format you want, so we can create that interaction saying it took place at this time. We could have the action, so in this case it would be a call. We could have the name of the campaign the student was called in on Gecko. We could have the any notes the student made, which are included on the timeline. We could also include the number we called the student from. In addition to that, and this is probably my favorite one, you've got the ability to send over a full recording. So I believe it's an MP4 file of the actual call itself. So if on Slate you want to hear the call that took place on Gecko from your agents on that timeline interaction, you absolutely can. And so on. You can also see the user who called them, the type of call, when it was started at, if you wanted to do a comparison between the started time and the end time, all very, very simple to do. Now, of course, there's no unique identifiers here, so let's remedy that so we know who to update this for. So let's tell Gecko that we also want to pinch a little bit of information from the contact section, and in this case, it's the full name and the email, but as you can see, whatever fields Gecko has, you can push over as well, even the total number of calls that we've made to them. There's a lot that you can do. In terms of wrapping this up in a neat little bow, then, we tell Gecko, this is an hourly export that I want you to run. Here's the SFTP details to go to your SFTP server, and then all you need to do is set up one time a source format on Slate, telling Slate that this particular field goes to here. It may be the interaction timeline, the student record, a task, whatever that may be. So you've got all the relevant information going to all of the right parts of Slate.